What is up, New York Jets fans? A very good evening to everybody out there. Great to see you in the comments section and all around the world. I'm just happy tonight because we are celebrating mothers. We are celebrating mothers all around the world, especially here on the Midnight Mike Show. So if you have stories, memories, or anything, especially if you went to Jets, if you had a mom who loved the Jets, who went to go see or brought you to Jets games, God, I'd love to hear that story, because mostly it's, you know, boys and their fathers and their uncles and all that stuff. But tonight we celebrate mothers. Let's get it started off with the Jets chant. Jets, Jets, Jets. All right. God, tonight it's one of those nights. It's one of those nights, folks. Let me explain what's going on. And this is always the worst when it happens this way. Maddie got called in emergency to work, okay? So I don't know if he's going to show up. I have no idea what's going on, but chances are we're going to be going tonight without my co-host, my brother from another mother, the Beavis to my butthead, Maddie. He will not, I don't think he will be here tonight. I do have a guest lined up. Not a problem there. But the problem is that when you get canceled, when a cancellation happens, and it happened about an hour and a half ago, it's really hard to get someone to take that spot, because our guest tonight, which from Jets Worldwide, Mr. Snowball, is coming on the show, and he was coming on not only to talk Jets, not only to enjoy the Midnight Mike Show experience with everybody, but he was also coming on to try to break Maddie's streak, dethrone Maddie in Midnight Mike Show trivia. And I spent some time. I got the trivia questions ready. It takes time to prepare when you do segments in the off season. We do the top 5, of course, during the intermission report, and that takes no preparation whatsoever. That's an improv thing where you guys come up with the top 5, and then of course we on the spot pick one and come up with our top 5. But the trivia is a segment that, you actually have to work on. You actually have to come up with the trivia questions. I have 3 categories, as always. And trying to get someone last minute, hey, look, I'll put it out there to anybody watching the show in the comments section. If you want to come on and do Midnight Mike Show trivia, please feel free. Just say, put the link in the description. I'll put it in. Now, once again, I'm not saying to anybody, obviously, you've got to have your camera working. I'm not having people come on the show. I every week, without a doubt, I always get people in the green room when I put the link in the description where their camera's not on or something fishy's going on, and that's not going to work out. But if it's someone that I know, obviously, or someone, I can see you, things like that, no problem. You come on the Midnight Mike Show, you have fun. I have trivia. It's all for fun. People get involved in the comment section, all that stuff. So it is what it is. Mets, I know I'm game. I'm game call between Mets and Cubs. I don't know what that means. Are you calling the Mets Cubs game, or are you game to do trivia? I'm not understanding what that means. Regardless, there's a bunch of other things I want to talk about. Obviously, we don't get to Midnight Mike Show trivia till around 9:30. But yeah, okay, so let's talk about this. The only thing really going on in the world of the New York Jets is rookie camp, right? Rookie camp. So I don't know what to say about it. It's a big nothing burger. And there's a lot of shows out there, and shows I watch, shows I enjoy, who spent so much time talking about it that it's like me coming on here and talking about mini camp for 2 hours, rookie camp. It's just not, that's not my style. That's not my style. When there's Jets during the season, me and Maddie and, anyone else who comes on the show, Honest Abe, Tommy Jets, even Sean, our Vikings correspondent, we never have any problems talking football for 2+ hours. That's never an issue. But in the off season, you have the off season, right, after the Super Bowl, and then there's really almost nothing until free agency starts. And then you get a few nuggets, right? You get a few nuggets in there with, signings and whatnot, and you can talk about that. Then it's nothing until the draft. And then the draft happens. And you get a good show or two out of it, You talk about who you drafted, who fell in the draft, all that stuff. But then after that, it's really nothing till training camp. And that's what I consider this rookie mini camp. It's almost like a nothing burger. Every Jet show has gone on and talked about it. Like, you could talk about it for 2 hours or 3 hours. But for me, truthfully, it's like I can talk about it for about 10, 15 minutes, because the truth is that there's reports that come out. You can listen to people who were there. You can talk to people who were there. And there's only so much. So I will talk a little bit about what I heard from Jets minicamp. And the biggest takeaway from it was what players were saying in their press conferences after the fact. They all kind of had the same talking points, but one in particular that people were talking about, like, oh, that's so positive. And that's the culture that Aaron Glenn is bringing to the team, right? Every player who came to a podium, got in front of the press, anything like that, they all had the same things to say, which was, oh, I'm loving I'm loving what Aaron Glenn is bringing to the team, his coaching style, the culture, this, Come on. Come on. I heard so many people come on. Oh, it's so great that these players are talking about how great the culture is, how great Aaron Glenn is. What the fuck do you expect, especially rookies, to say? If they didn't say that stuff, you have to remember that most of these rookies, these undrafted free agents, guys who were drafted in the 5th, 6th round, chances are they're not going to make the team, or they're looking for a spot on the practice squad. Like, we know Membo's going to make the team. We know Mason Taylor's going to make the team. But truthfully, once you get past that, what do you expect these people to say when they get in front of the press about Aaron Glenn? Did you expect them to come on and be like, yeah, it was an okay practice. I mean, Aaron really didn't. I didn't really talk to him much. He wasn't really involved that much. Or, yeah, no, he was good. It was what it was. I liked my coach in college better. Like, what did everybody expect? So once again, I am hoping that Aaron Glenn is bringing a new culture to the New York Jets of accountability, of toughness, hey, you may not be the best, but we are going to be the most disciplined. We are going to be, we are going to bring a culture of no penalties, playing, accountability for yourself and what your job is on the field. But we're not going to know that until we get into training camp, until we get into the first week of the season and see how this team that truthfully everyone's predicting at 5 wins, maybe 6, maybe 7, if we're lucky. We'll see how they perform and what Aaron Glenn can do. But having a bunch of rookies come out and praise their head coach when they're looking to be signed, looking for a job, I mean, what are we talking about here? Like, what are we really talking about here? And that's why I named this show Aaron's Culture. Like, we're really going to we're all going to get it. We're going to get excited in Jets content creation world that rookies are putting over the new head coach. Once again, what do you expect? What's up, Nick Shine's Missing Toe? How you doing tonight? Good to see you. Well, for a minute there, I was under the impression that I was dealing with Mets middle finger or Mets butthole, but no, Nick Shine's Missing Toe. Apparently we found it and it's in the comment section, so that's good. What's up, Chris? How you doing tonight? Good to see you. Good to see everybody. I appreciate you guys being in here. Um, another thing that for some reason became a talking point over the past couple days was the rookie numbers. People were so upset with numbers that people picked. Mason Taylor originally went out with or it was announced that he was 46, went out on the field as 46, and it just broke not too long ago, a couple, minutes, maybe less than an hour ago, that he's actually going to be wearing number 85, Wesley Walker's number. And people were all pissed off that he was coming in with number 46. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, who the fuck cares what players wear certain numbers? Like, seriously, are you really, with how shitty the Jets have been, we're going to sit there and we are going to complain about what numbers people are wearing out on the field? And to be fair, I've always been a numbers guy, like, from back in the day. But once the NFL kind of made it that you could have any number at any position and whatever, at this point, I don't care. Everybody looks awkward on the field pretty much. Growing up, your kickers and your quarterbacks had the single digits, and then like the lower, maybe up to like 15, 18, stuff like that, right? 19. But usually you didn't see a quarterback with a number over 20. Once you got to the numbers in the 20s, you're starting to look at running backs and people like that, correct? And then you had your wide receivers that were always in the 80s, right? You had your offensive line and defensive lines that were in like the 50s, 60s, 70s, things like that. And it was just understood. Like, that's what you did. But now I see kickers going out there with, 54, 38, all this, and it looks ridiculous. That's a college shit. The NFL used to have standards with their numbers. Once they decided that they didn't care about the numbers anymore, why the fuck should we care about the numbers anymore? And truthfully, I'd rather, maybe this is a hot take, and I know people are probably like, yeah, 85, Mason Taylor, great number. I'd rather him be 46, because when I see 85, I see Wesley Walker, and he's one of the best players we've ever had on the New York Jets. And Grant, I know it's almost like I'm wearing Corbett. Like, I know that his number isn't retired for the New York Jets, but what I do know is that they're not letting people take the number. So as of right now, his number's not retired, but nobody's taking the number 80. So I'm hoping one day we get that retirement. But it's like, once again, if Mason Taylor came out with 80, I'd be like, why are you wearing Wayne Corbett's number? I still think it's awkward to see Will McDonald wearing 99. That's Mark Gastineau's number. Like, and that number, I mean, look, he was a sack leader. Granted, it got beaten, whatever, but the Strahan thing was bullshit. The Strahan thing was complete bullshit. It was, he was given a free sack leader number by Brett Favre. And although I believe me, I'm with you. I think that Mark Gastineau looked like a petty little bitch when he confronted Brett Favre about it recently, when they put it on the ESPN 30 for 30 sack exchange. I think that was a crock of shit. Not only should they not have aired that, but because Mark Gastineau is having trouble, like, mentally, I feel like there's some sort of mental decline going on there. But the onus also has to be on Mark. It has to be on him too, because we all saw what happened. We all saw him take a dive for Michael Strahan. You don't need to sit there and especially now, how many years later is this that you're confronting him? And Marco, like, crying about it. It almost seemed like he was crying about it. And look, I'm a huge Mark fan. I got 2 of his starting lineup figures right behind me. But, it was a bad look for Mark or whatever. But should Will McDonald be wearing number 99 on the Jets? Probably not. Because not only are you taking a legend's number in the New York Jets, but you are now going to be compared to Mark Gastineau. And I'm sorry, no matter how good Will McDonald is, I don't ever see him putting up the sack numbers that Mark Gastineau did in the 80s with the sack exchange, or having the, celebrity that Mark Gastineau had, being on the cover of Sports Illustrated, doing appearances and whatever. Mark Gastineau was a larger than life New York Jet. He was almost like a Namath of the 80s, because Klecko and Salam and Lions, they were much more subdued. They went out on the field, they did their thing. Mark wanted to be out there, wanted all the magazine covers and all that stuff. So, whatever. So just like I think it's awkward to see Will McDonald wearing 99. I think it's gonna be awkward to look at Mason Taylor wearing 85. That's Wesley Walker's number. Now I get it. You can't literally retire every number, but when you look at Wesley Walker's stats, one of the best wide receivers in Jets history. When you look at Mark Gastineau, the number 1 sack leader of the New York Jets. So it's not like we're talking about, a random other guy. Like, I don't even know who to use as an example, but like Lavernius Coles. If someone tell you, what was he, 87? I don't even remember. But 87, let's say. I think it was 87. If Mason Taylor took 87, I wouldn't be like, hey, that's Lavernius Coles' number. It wouldn't be like that. Either way, what's up, guys, in the chat? Mike is fired up tonight. I'm not fired up. It's this whole getting upset over jerseys thing is ridiculous. Who the fuck cares? The NFL doesn't care. Why the fuck should we? The only thing I get fired up about is if you're taking a legend on the team's number that hasn't been retired yet. That's where I kind of draw the line. Miguel Padilla in the house. What's up, Gangrene fam, channel member? Great to see you, Miguel. Great to see you. Oh, and by the way, everybody, we had, I think we have 7 gifted channel memberships, 3 more, and I will gift 10 of my own. We have to get to the 10. We had 7 last show, 3 more, and I'll gift 10 of my own. But thank you, Miguel, for being here. Good to see you. Hell yeah, O'Brien to Walker. That is what I'm talking about. What's your thoughts, Scott? Like, should he be wearing that number? Matt Wilson, hit the thumbs up, people. Hell yeah, guys, please. If you are in here, it's a tough night. I always go back, and I'm about to bring on my guest, but I always go back because now I have over a year of, Jets content. Like, I'm now decently into my second year of Jets content creation. So I always try to look at my numbers. So like, I look at last offseason and I look at my numbers, and this is one of those rough weekends, not only because it's Mother's Day, and that's a lot of the reason why it's hard to find someone to come on to do trivia tonight, but also it's the off season, all that stuff. But the good thing is that looking back at last off season, our numbers are up across the board, from last off season. Now from the season, they're not. Obviously during the football season, the numbers are double what they are. But during last off season, but I did look, and Mother's Day weekend is definitely not the time where everybody's like, hey, let's go watch, sports content creation when there's nothing to talk about except rookie minicamp and, whatever. People are visiting their mothers on this weekend. So I understand that. All right, let's bring in my guest. He is from Jets Worldwide, wide. I was on with him last week. Check that out. Ladies and gentlemen, Snowball, how you doing tonight?
How are you, Mike? Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to you.
What were you going to say?
No, what I was going to say is you texted me because I texted you right before the show.
Yeah.
And you had told me that your wife saw the text first.
Yes.
And I guess you're thrown off by the name.
You're in my phone as Midnight Mike. So she's like, who the hell is Midnight Mike?
What did she think? Like I was a gangster, drug dealer?
No, far from that.
Oh, okay. Because the funny thing is that when I was out before the show started, I said to my wife, I said, oh yeah, and I'm having Snowball on tonight. She goes, Snowball, like our elf? Because our child's elf on the shelf is named Snowball. Oh. I said, no, he's at the North Pole. This is a different Snowball.
Thank you for bringing me on during the slow season. I hope to improve the numbers tonight. I'm sure.
It's Mother's Day. We're also running up against WWE Backlash, which shockingly, a lot of sports fans still watch wrestling. So it is what it is. It was like when WrestleMania was on. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ. Hey, can't come on the show because I'm watching WrestleMania. Like,
good for them.
I guess
I'm not into wrestling, so I don't know what to tell you.
Real quick, Miguel Padilla comes in, says, in my opinion, Gastineau and Walker's numbers should be retired. They are Jets legends. And I agree. Did you hear me talking about that earlier? I'd love to hear your thoughts.
I did. I heard that. Well, listen, I've met Wesley Walker, really nice guy. And should his number be retired? Yeah, why not? Let's retire Wesley Walker because he was a Jets legend.
Yeah.
And Gastineau, somebody else had 99 also.
Yeah, Jason Taylor.
Yeah. So anyway,
but I wasn't okay with it then either.
No.
But at least Jason Taylor is a Hall 99. Of Famer, and I could live up to, like, I mean, not on the Jets, but career-wise. Mm-hmm. He had an outstanding career. He was proven himself, so he came to the Jets. Whatever. I get it. But when rookies come in and take these legend numbers, it always, that's the only thing with numbers that bothers me.
So it was his choice. It was Mason Taylor's choice to take 85.
Of course.
And the Jets were like, go right ahead. That's fine. Take the legend's number.
Well, same with Will McDonald.
Right. Well, Gastineau has always gotten the short end of the stick no matter what. Like, yes. For his entire life. So I have a whole other issue with Mark Gastineau. Not him, but the way he's been treated for his entire life. So,
well, I'd like to hear it because I'm a Gastineau supporter. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame.
He should be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, look at his numbers throughout his career. He is a defensive legend in the NFL, not just the Jets. He is a legend. He held the record for how many years? Like, and I don't know if did you mention like the dive, the
absolutely. Absolutely. He should have had that record longer.
Yeah, he really should have. So he's been like, he did a lot of stuff. Like he crossed the line, and all that, whatever. He's a great football player. He has the stats to be in the Hall of Fame. And because of a couple of things that he did throughout his life, as though there aren't other people in the Hall of Fame who have done things similar to what he's done or worse.
Thank you for supporting me, Snowball.
You're very welcome, Mark. I have a story. I actually, last summer, I went to Hofstra because they were having a signing, like a Legends signing session. And Mark Gastineau was supposed to be there. I don't know if he was actually there or not. I went with all intentions to get a helmet signed and a jersey, and I had paid everything, and I got my ticket.
Was he booked to be there?
So he was booked to be there.
Okay.
I was online waiting for him, and they're like, sorry, Mark was upstairs. He was signing things and got ill, and now he has to leave. So no one ever saw him. Oh, I didn't see him. So I don't know if he was actually there or he never showed up. How am I supposed to know? But I left with a jersey and a helmet unsigned. So
that sucks.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. But I know that he's been through a lot. I know that he has been ill. I know that he has had issues with other stuff. So, in bad health and whatever. I cut the guy a break.
It also seems like maybe his mind is slipping a little bit.
I don't know. I think, well, you saw the clip from the 30 for 30, right?
Yeah, and I talked about it earlier, and I just said, like, not only do I think that ESPN shouldn't have aired that, that's number one, but I also blame Mark on that one because you can't. He was almost. It almost seemed like he was about to cry. And to do that and go to Favre, like, once again, if this was like a year ago that had happened, and he was like, but then how far removed are we now from that happening?
There are things that, I mean, stick in your head, right? Like they get stuck in your craw. It's hard to let go of some things, and for him, football was life. So, like that's something that really struck a chord with him. So. What are you going to do? Like, it obviously irks this guy, and it still irks him to this day. So I don't hold anything against him. If he's pissed off about it, that's his life. That's the way he's going to feel. Should they have aired it? I don't believe they got consent from Mark Gastineau to actually put that into the footage. So that's the issue that I have with that. But otherwise, if that's the way Mark Gastineau feels about Brett Favre and he's pissed, and listen, I wouldn't want to at this age, I wouldn't want to tangle with Mark Gastineau, whatever. He's a big dude, man. So like, I could see that Favre was.
So what do you know about that camera angle? Was it a person with their phone, or was it an actual ESPN camera and they were just kind of like sitting there? And because it seemed like he was mic'd up.
Yeah, that's what it looked like to me. It looked like it was. I don't know if they were. Yeah, see, actually, you're right. Like when you think about it, right? Should if he knew that he was being filmed, but again, I guess he has final say over what goes into the film, or maybe he doesn't. Maybe he signed something before the production and just said, "Hey, whatever happens."
I could also pick, because a lot of people, a lot of networks and things like that are sleazy, and I could almost picture, and this is once again complete, I'm making this up, but I can picture whatever, like the cameraman's there, they know they have him mic'd up. And they know clearly from talking with him how pissed off he still is at Brett Favre for taking the dive for Strahan, and them being like, "Hey, Mark, we're gonna take a break. We're gonna check, the camera lens, and we're gonna, do some things. Just hang out for a minute. Oh, there's Brett Favre, And then he goes over, and they're like, "Yep, keep rolling. Just sit down, look like you're hanging out." And then
you think it was a setup?
It could have been. I wouldn't put it past any kind of any company making a documentary. Documentaries have to have that that clip, and that clip came out before the ESPN 30 for 30 came out.
That's pretty fucked up.
Once again, I don't know if it's true.
Yeah. If they did that, that's pretty messed up, Mike. That's weird.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past a documentary team to like kind of set something up that they know will be like juicy.
They could. I wouldn't put it past them. That's sure.
Let me pop through here. Maddie is a fraud and will lose. Maddie is not. I don't think he's going to be here tonight, Matthew. So you're going to have to take your anger out on Snowball or myself. So please work with that. Let's see here. Miguel says Favre did say he regretted taking the dive and would have ran in a different situation. I doubt Favre has Gastineau's record on his mind when he snapped the ball. What do you think about that? See, I think he did. I think he knew. I'm not saying he knew. I don't think he sat there. I don't think Favre went down thinking, I'm going to ruin Mark Gastineau's number.
No.
He went down thinking, I'm going to help my buddy Michael Strahan.
Exactly.
So it wasn't a personal thing, I don't think, for Favre.
No. He didn't think it through that far. He thought about he thought about, he just did it for Strahan.
And the thing is that Gastineau, you're right. I mean, let's defend Gastineau a little bit too. I have no problem with that, but that was all he had because Favre had his Super Bowl. Strahan had his Super Bowls. Like these guys had other things. That's what Gastineau had. He had the sack exchange and the sack record.
Right.
And
that was his Super Bowl. Yeah,
exactly.
That was his Super Bowl.
And from what I'm to understand, the sack exchange is the reason they started keeping that as a stat.
Mm-hmm.
So Favre is not a thinker.
Far from it.
Matthew says he could never do that to you, Snowball. He can never just start attacking you the way he attacks Maddie.
Thank you, Matthew. Oh, so we don't have Maddie?
No, well, he got called in. He told me, I mean, privately, he's talked to me about how, I'm not going to bring up my work stuff anymore. But what I will say is that he did get called into work on an emergency situation. And he always has work anyway on Saturday nights, which is why he usually busts out around halfway through the show because he has to go to work because he works the overnight. And they called him in early and he kind of was like, I don't know if I'm going to get back out. Chances are, I'm probably just going to have to roll through to my normal shift.
He was just scared, right?
Possibly.
I think he was scared.
That's a possibility. He didn't want to take you on a trip.
He'll be sick again next week too.
Anytime he has to, any Saturday now.
That's right.
that he has to do trivia.
I'll be back again, Maddie.
He'll be waiting. But yeah, so that's my thought. I know we had got into a whole conversation about Mark Gastineau, but those are my thoughts on the numbers. Now I did see that you and Johnny Boy yesterday in I call that the late show, and then the Dano show is the late show for Friday night. But you guys did do a thing on rookie camp and the numbers. What now, aside from Mason Taylor changing and taking 85, what caused this hoopla with these numbers with the Jets community?
Nothing else going on. So there you go. Like, if you have nothing else to talk about, then you're going to talk about what you have to talk about, and numbers were the name of that was the flavor of the day. So the numbers were there. I will say that 46 was awkward for a tight end, but like you had mentioned before, who cares? But obviously he did care, because he said that's just the number that they gave me. But then again, he cared because he changed it, or maybe his father told him to change it or something. I don't know. Like you said, and even if it was me, you, the guy down the street, whoever, if you get onto the Jets and they give you a number and you supposedly aren't on the team until you get through Jets mini camp or whatever, you're going to do whatever the coach tells you to do.
Yeah.
He's like, here, wear this number. You'd be like, thank you. Yes, I will wear that number. Who cares? But then today, he changes to 85. Nobody else changed. Did anyone else change?
Not that I know of. And like I said, I just saw the announcement from the Jets like less than an hour ago.
Right.
That he changed, that he was coming out with going to be wearing 85. But once again, it's rookie camp. Who cares? And I am actually shocked that the Jets didn't just ask the guys, because what does it matter at this point? Hey guys, here's all the numbers available. Pick your numbers.
Yeah. Why did they do that? Why do they give them numbers first and then they have the opportunity to change their number?
Well,
is there a method to that?
Well, especially like one of the top two picks. So like, I understand you're not going to go to every undrafted free agent and ask them what number they want. I understand you may not go to the 5th and 6th round guys, but Membu and Mason Taylor, those are the guys you should probably go to, because they're going to make the team.
Right.
And be like, guys, what number you want? Here's the available numbers. So
are you opposed to any of the other numbers? I think all the other numbers make sense.
Yeah, no, I don't have a problem with any of the numbers. Like I said earlier in the show, I was talking about it, and it's like I cared more about numbers when I felt like numbers mattered. So like quarterbacks, punters, and kickers were always between 1 and 19.
Right.
And then running backs were always usually around the 20s. And then your wide receivers, tight ends were in like the 80s. Your offensive and defensive line were in like 50s, 60s, 70s, somewhere in there. And that's what it was. And, you had like your defense, you had your safeties and cornerbacks. They would be in like the 20s, 30s, maybe 40s. So, but then when the NFL was like, yeah, it doesn't matter anymore. I bothered me looking and seeing a kicker wearing like 36. Like that's awkward to me.
It is.
But it is what it is. And if you're going to keep retiring numbers, like let's say they did that in baseball, you couldn't do that in baseball. The Yankees have every number retired, from 1 to 100. Like at this point, the Yankees are going to have to start wearing triple digit numbers
or letters.
Yeah, or letters. I'm 1A, whatever.
So does it matter to you? Does it matter that the number on the it does, right? It matters. The number on the person matters now to you?
No, that's what I'm saying. I have been I always thought it did, but then when the NFL decided that it didn't, and anyone could wear any number at any position, it bothered me for like a season or two, and then it was like, who cares? Like at this point, it's like, what am I going to do about it?
Yeah.
So no, it doesn't matter to me. I don't care what numbers people wear at this point. The only thing is, little asterisk to that, is that when they take numbers of guys, I think should be maybe or should be around that retired number area. Like,
right.
like imagine if one of these guys came out and wore number 80.
I don't think they're allowed to wear 80.
They're not.
I don't think they are.
No, they're not.
That's when you walk through the door, they're like, take a number. Obviously, don't take any numbers that have been retired, but also don't take 80.
Correct. No, I know that's kind of an unwritten thing,
Yeah.
which tells me that they're going to retire number 80 eventually. Like there's going to be a ceremony. They're going to retire 80.
When do they retire 80? That's the other thing, because Wayne Corbett was on a show like a year ago, and I'm in the chat, and I typed in and I said, can you just walk up to One Jets Drive and like open the door and just go wherever you want? And he like read the question in the chat and said, like, I'm Wayne Corbett. He's like, I can do anything.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and he's so loved because he came out of Hofstra. He's a New York guy, and didn't even, like, originally when he was on the team, like for I think his first preseason, he was wearing like number 3.
Yeah, he was walk on.
Yeah. And
Crazy.
just became one of the greatest third down and guys. I don't know where I heard this. I don't know. It might have been Wayne Corbett does a podcast with Lavernius Coles, correct?
Yes.
I think I was listening to that, and Wayne Corbett had said that he went out to eat with the Edelman and someone else, 2 other guys who basically came after Corbett and did what Corbett did.
Mm-hmm.
And they were calling him the Godfather. They were calling Wayne Corbett the Godfather because he almost invented that third down small receiver that you knew if you threw it to him, he was going to catch it.
Yeah.
And so he kind of invented a position in the NFL.
So I went to Hofstra. I was 2 years. I graduated 2 years before Wayne, and I can remember going to football games and watching the Dutchman at that time, the Flying Dutchman, and like he was good, but I didn't think that he was like gonna, go and walk on to the Jets, but he did, and he made it, which is amazing.
Was he even like eligible for the draft?
Oh, I don't know.
Because they clearly didn't sign him as an undrafted free agent. He was a walk-on.
Yeah.
And somehow made that team.
Amazing though.
Yeah. I feel like I got to go back and watch some of his preseason work from what would have been 95.
I graduated in 93. He was a graduate of 95. Yeah.
And you graduate in June. So he would have walked on in
May. You graduate in May.
Okay. So he would have walked. Yeah. So he would have walked on in the late summer of 95.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go because he must have had like, I mean, I know I watched it because I've always been a person who watches all the preseason games.
Right.
He must have had the most spectacular preseason and who was the coach? So it was before Parcells. Was it Pete Carroll?
Who was right before Parcells, right?
Yeah, because Parcells didn't come till 97. Or was it Kotite? It would have been Kotite.
So it was Kotite, and then it was Parcells, and then it was Al Groh, and then Herm Edwards.
So wait a minute. So we all as Jets fans literally shit all over Rich Kotite at all times. But he was the guy who recognized the talent of Wayne Corbett and had him make the team.
Yeah.
Now, granted, they went 3-13 and 1-15, so he didn't have much competition, I guess. The Jets were absolutely abysmal at the time. But hey, look, if we can put a silver lining on Rich Kotite,
it's Wayne Corbett.
It's Wayne Corbett. There you go. Sure. And so look, here's basically what I got out of all the shows and all the reports and all the things I heard from rookie camp. We don't have to go over rookie camp forever, but basically from reports I read and things I heard is that there was a lot of excitement and a lot of like energy with our rookies, on the field. They were obviously, I don't know. Do you know if they practiced? Did they went today, right?
They did.
And were they outside today?
They were outside today.
Okay. Everything I was watching obviously earlier today was from the practice on Friday where they were indoors. Mm-hmm. And I heard the excitement and energy were super high. and I heard that Membu looked fast. He looked, strong, all that stuff. So all good things we're hearing. But the thing that I brought, and what this show is, the name of this show, Aaron's Culture, is that every every press conference, like people were like, and beat reporters, content creators, were all like, yeah, and Membu said, and this person said, and that person said, they all said they love the culture that Aaron Glenn's bringing to the team. They all love what Aaron Glenn is doing, and I sat there watching, and I brought it up earlier on the show, and I went, what the fuck did you think they were going to say? Like, these are all guys trying to make a team. They're not going to come on and be like, yeah, nah, he was okay. Like, it was good. They're going to put him over to the moon because this is the guy who decides if they make the team or not. What are your thoughts?
Sure. I mean, what else would you say as a person trying to make the team? Of course, you're going to say the culture is amazing and he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Like, of course, Aaron Glenn's the man. He is the man. He runs the show. He's going to basically, be my ticket to being a multi-millionaire, at some point if I perform well. So yeah, you're going to stroke his ego as much as you can and say all the right things about Aaron Glenn. These players have not been exposed to what we've had in the past, and they're coming from college. So he's an NFL coach now. He's a head coach in the NFL, and this is their first experience with an NFL coach. So, he's the rainbow. He's everything. He's God to them. Yeah. So of course they're going to say everything is beautiful with Aaron Glenn. But I have to say, everything that Aaron Glenn has been saying at press conferences, I was not a believer in Aaron Glenn in the beginning. I was very pessimistic. I was a doubting Thomas. I did not know what to expect with Aaron Glenn. When I heard, and maybe
so you didn't want, well, like before he was hired, right. You weren't on board to hire him?
No, I really wasn't. Who was the coach from? He was with Miami. He was with the Vikings.
God damn it! I'm not gonna remember this.
Yeah, Brian Flores.
Oh, Brian Flores, yes.
So I was a Brian Flores fan, and I really wanted Flores to be the head coach because he had head coaching experience before. We actually talked about this last night on the show. Before the season started, before they chose a GM and a head coach, everyone was clamoring for a head coach and a GM with experience. So, I was like, yeah, it would be really nice this time, instead of having a first-time head coach and a first-time GM, to have a head coach with experience. Flores was that guy. Vrabel was that guy. But you knew that Vrabel, once, the Patriots touched him, that he was going to be their head coach. So Flores was the guy that I wanted. If we weren't going to get Vrabel, then Glenn was kind of like third in my book.
Yeah.
But everything that he has been saying, and I don't know if this is just, like not, well, being a Jets fan, whoever's in the building, you're going to root for.
Yeah.
In my opinion. But I was very skeptical of Aaron Glenn to begin with, but he seems to have the right mentality. And I like the idea that he's kind of doing it old school. He's doing some things I heard in training camp with the rookie mini camp, that he's kind of bringing it back old school. He's doing a lot of like stretching and stuff, and the way that he trained. So I'm hopeful, and little by little, he's kind of winning me over. So I don't know what you feel about him, but that's me.
He was now, like, I'll be honest. Truthfully, I was one of those mentally unstable Jets fans who was literally like, I'll take Rex Ryan. And it's not because I think he would have come in and done great. But the thing is that you just have that memory of the Rex Ryan era and winning, that in my head is just like, I want to go back to that. I'll take him. Because at that point it was like, I'll take anybody. Like, but I also love that Rex Ryan didn't take shit from people, and he didn't take shit from his players. So I wanted someone who would literally get, I don't care how much of a diva you are, how much you read your own press, all that stuff. Rex Ryan wasn't taking that shit. He would have gotten in your face no matter how big of a star you were, and he would have basically broken you down. And that's what I'm hoping that Aaron Glenn will do. And that's what I'm starting to get the feeling Aaron Glenn is going to do. Accountability, discipline, things like that. Break down, get rid of all these penalties that killed us over the past couple years. So yeah, I'm excited. But even without Aaron Glenn, I spoke to Maddie and everybody about this. And there's plenty of footage of this. I was completely on board with Aaron Glenn, even though first-time head coach, and not only that, but defensive coach, another defensive coach.
Right.
I was a little weary about that, but once again, he's Jets family, and he did us well for many, many, many years. You could always count on Aaron Glenn in that cornerback position. So it's like he's family. You know, he did good by us. He deserves a shot, and he does seem like like he's not going to take shit from anybody, and that's what I want. Like no matter how much it has to put stars who may have a little bit of a diva complex in their place. Because once again, when he got hired, we were still wondering what we were doing with Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams and all that stuff. And I kept saying over and over again, if Aaron Glenn comes in, and I just want him to make a decision. I want him to be the king. And he came in. I remember, I think the whole Aaron Rodgers thing came out on a Sunday or a Monday about, getting rid of Aaron Rodgers. And I had said on that previous Saturday show, or maybe it came out on a Wednesday, and I said it on the Tuesday show. And I said, I wish he would just make a decision. Just go in there. If you want Rodgers, tell him you want him, get it going. Or if you don't, get rid of him and move on. And he did. And like, regardless of, I was ready to go either direction. I was ready to go with Rodgers or without Rodgers, and I thought there were pluses to both. I think Aaron Rodgers and Devontae staying on the team would have maybe given us more hope in 2025, but getting rid of Aaron Rodgers and Devontae is the start of a building block to being better in the future in 2026, 2027. Yeah, so either way, there was positives.
Yeah, I agree. But what I find interesting is that you were a Rex fan.
Yeah.
So I was not a Rex fan. I did not want Rex Ryan back. I like where Rex Ryan is right now. Just doing his announcing. I think that's fantastic. I think that's his wheelhouse. I didn't want a rehash of Rex Ryan. I know a lot of people wanted Rex Ryan back. I was not a fan of bringing Rex Ryan back because Rex Ryan brings Rex Ryan baggage. He's got he's a big personality. And he
loves feet.
Loves feet.
Yep.
And he's got tattoos of former players, which is weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a freaky guy.
Well, hold on. What's weirder, getting a tattoo of a player or naming your son after the quarterback you brought in for one season?
I think the tattoo, because it's just permanent. Like that's
so is the
name his son. Yeah, but like, do you talk? That's kind of like
that's what Mangini did. So
that's a dead heat, man.
That's tough.
Yeah. We've had some freaky coaches.
Yeah, we've had some weirdos.
But yeah, I wasn't a fan of Rex Ryan. If Rodgers would have stayed, and I know again a lot of people, I liked McCarthy. I liked the relationship, and I thought that would have been a cool thing to have. Like when they interviewed Mike McCarthy about Aaron Rodgers, he seemed like he was very fond of him. So if we would have kept Aaron Rodgers, then Mike McCarthy would have been my call for a coach. But they didn't even bring any of those guys in, like, the Grudens or the McCarthys or the Carrolls. Or
I was a fan of Gruden too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have minded giving Gruden another shot.
So we never got a chance to see them. So I think they made the right decision. I think they made so far, it seems as though they have made the right decisions from the start.
Let's hope so.
Get rid of Rodgers, all this stuff. Yeah.
Well, let me say this real quick, everybody. I see you guys in there. I know you got to be hitting that like button. Please hit the like button. The little thumbs up below this video is free. You just hit it to help out the show. and show your support for the show and say, hey, I appreciate the fact that you guys are here entertaining on a Saturday night. So hit that thumbs up button. And real quick, I had this up for a while. Daniel Meehan comes in, says, right now it's rainbows and sunshine for Jets fans. Glenn will get a free pass in rookie season, but there will be a point when they will have to win. Yeah, I brought that up earlier, and I said, first off, I don't think he's going to get a pass. Jets fans are not patient enough. I think if the Jets are 1-3 or 1-4, you're going to have people, including myself, just flipping out. Like, because I'll flip out. I flip out quick. Like, I'm just so impatient at this point. It's been 40 plus years being a Jets fan, and I understand that he should have more time, but the instinct of me is to flip out. And I'm not going to literally sit there and want him fired after 4 or 5 games, but I'm sure going to flip out. Like, it is what it is. But getting rid of Rodgers, yes. I mean, look, here's the thing. That 100%, now looking back at it, it's a good thing. Get rid of these guys, because even if we kept Aaron and Devontae this season, were we going to win a Super Bowl?
You don't know.
Well, I would say no.
Listen, it's for me, you play the season and you have weird things happen. Every season, there's a team that emerges that you didn't think was going to go that far. The Super Bowl, probably not. But let me ask you this. Aaron Glenn, in comparison to first-year head coaches that we've had before, I don't know when you became a Jets fan, and I don't know who the coach was when you started to become a Jets fan. When were you like aware that you were a Jets fan?
Okay, I was aware I was a Jets fan when I was like 3 or 4 years old. And so that was 83, 84. Okay. But I couldn't, like, all I knew was like, I'd get a program at a game, and then my uncle and my dad would open it up and be like, that's Altoon, or that's Wesley. It was Wesley Walker. I don't know if Toon was on the team yet, but that's Wesley Walker. You know, that's Ken O'Brien. That's Freeman McNeil. And I'd look at their pictures and I'd be like, you know, whatever. But I didn't know. It wasn't until like when I really started like knowing what was going, like really like getting invested, I probably would say it was like 86, 87.
Okay.
So that was probably when I like really started to get invested.
Right. So when you think about coaches that we've had in the past, right? So for you, like Joe Walton, might have been like a coach that you might have some recollection about. If we were to compare Aaron Glenn to Joe Walton, right? Like, how do they compare? What do you think? Like, no, let's not even do that. Let's do like people who were first-time head coaches that we're really aware of, right? And we don't have to go back too far in the past. But what about like Herm Edwards or Aaron Glenn? Like first-year head coach.
It's hard, but it's hard to say that because we don't know Aaron Glenn's track record. Like, we don't know what he's going to bring to the team.
Right.
Like, we know what Herm brought us. Herm brought us a division championship.
Right.
You know, Herm brought us some wins.
Did we expect that though? We didn't expect that his first year.
True, but I've also always been like one of those well, it's starting to get a little more pessimistic. I'm starting to be more like John Ratcliffe here. Bring on the 6-11 ceiling, baby. I'm starting to be a lot more over the past like 5 years. Everything has shifted, but but you know what? Fuck it. Even last season, I was so giddy before the season. I was like, we have a Super Bowl team, like whatever, completely ignoring the fact that we knew Robert Saleh was not a Super Bowl winning head coach. We knew it. We had seen what he had done. You know, and we all just stroked ourselves into believing that this was a Super Bowl team and we had a coaching staff. All of our coaches were terrible.
Oh, we knew it though.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't know, but I'm when Herm Edwards came onto the team, when Eric Mangini came onto the team, when you could go through the list, I was excited because I was looking at something new. I was like, okay, this is good. We're gonna turn it around now. All right, we're gonna do it. Like, here we go.
But that's every year.
Exactly. That's the thing. It's and then with all these guys, 3-4 years later, they're gone and you hate them. Now, once again, I don't hate Herm Edwards. I don't necessarily hate Eric Mangini, but it's like they're just in that a long list of Jets head coaches that were here for 1 to 5 years,
Right.
and
Yeah.
then we're gone, and we moved on, and it was what it was. The only coach I can ever remember being like, "Oh, fuck, we're screwed," was Adam Gase.
Adam Gase. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
And
that's it. And I
everyone
think
had that same reaction.
that was across the board. Like
Yeah.
nobody was like excited about Adam Gase.
No. And that proved to be, well, listen, we knew that we would score on the first drive. And that was it.
And then it was over.
And then it was over.
Matthew comes in. He says, no, I wanted Rex when Saleh was fired. Let him have a little prove it year. Let him take the reins. Let him go crazy. Now, I don't know if he's talking about he wanted him hired this year or if he wanted, like, when Saleh was fired, let's bring in Rex instead of putting Ulbrich in that position. Maybe that would have been a good idea. Like, because it would have been a work it out kind of situation where we could have, it would have been interim head coach Rex Ryan.
Who was our tight ends coach last year? What's his name?
I'm not going to remember
that. I know. I have to look things up because these are people that I can't remember. Head coach, right? Jets.
I put in Jets tight end coach 2024, and all it's doing is giving me current people.
Yeah.
So
anyway.
Actually, you scroll down, images of New York Jets tight end coach, and there's a picture of Aaron Rodgers.
There you go. Okay. Anyway, I'm looking at the current. Yeah, this is the current coaching staff. But I thought that he would have been a good head coach for the team because he did coach Ron Middleton, right? Yeah, Matt, thank you. Ron Middleton would have been a good head coach to take over after Saleh was fired, I thought, because he had coached the team when Saleh was out, right? And I think he had coached the Senior Bowl too.
Well, Ulbrich coached the Senior Bowl too.
Yeah.
Well, what does that prove at this point?
Doesn't prove anything.
Ulbrich just God. And then now look what Ulbrich's going through. He just got fined $100,000 for his son being a genius.
Yeah.
Like I'll be honest, I support the kid.
What do you make of that? What do you make of that situation? I think that was a pretty dicky thing to do. I'm sorry. That's just me. That's me. Hilarious, but
hilarious.
You're toying with somebody's, like livelihood and whatever.
I will address
Sanders. Go ahead.
I will address this. Real quick, Matthew, there's nothing wrong with feet. As a matter of fact, I did a podcast for 15 years, and one of my co-hosts, who's one of my best friends, who's the best man at my wedding, he loved feet, women's feet, and he introduced me to Wiki Feet. I'm not into feet. I mean, I like, if a girl has cute feet and cute shoes, I'm down with that. But he was really into feet, like how Rex Ryan's into feet, and he also was really into muscular women, like ridiculously muscular women like China, Nicole Bass, like bodybuilding women. So no, there's nothing wrong with feet. And if you like feet, go to Wiki Feet. But what were we now? Now I'm sidetracked. What was I going to answer?
No, we were talking about Ulbrich taking over.
And the thing with his son.
The thing with his son.
Look, it may have been a dick move, but you know what? It was a dick move. Shador and his son coming out and saying we're not going to play for the Jets or the Browns.
Yeah.
At the end of last season.
Do you see the way?
Hold on. You know what was a dick move? Not throwing at like combines and things like that. You know what was a dick move? Making an entire draft room with bling all over yourself and bragging and both him and his father talking like, oh, we're gonna go top 5. Da, 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 da. If anybody deserved that prank, it was Shador Sanders and the Sanders family. That's what I'll say.
I agree and disagree at the same point. I think it was Dion. I think it was because that's his dad. And he's going to follow his father's advice and he's going to do all the stuff that his father said. It was Deion Sanders, really, that I would blame for something like that. But anyway, Ulbrich got fined $100,000. I didn't even know.
He got fined $100,000 and the Falcons got fined like $400,000 or $500,000. It was something like that
because they didn't make his iPad secure or whatever.
Well, or I don't know. I don't know if he just left it out,
Yeah.
and his son just went, oh shit, look, there's a bunch of players' personal draft phone numbers. I don't know how it happened, but I laughed my ass off because me and Maddie got into a big fight about this Tuesday night. It's at the very end of the show. But that show's for members only now. But regardless, we got into a big fight about it because I don't like Shedeur Sanders. Like, I don't like him. I don't like his family. I don't like their attitude. I don't like anything about it because you know how many guys come in, like Cam Ward came in so humble, like he got drafted first. He deserved to get drafted first. You could tell how happy he was when he got drafted. You could see it in him and his family. And the same goes for all the 143 other guys that got drafted before Shedeur Sanders. And it just so entitled, such a brat. Like,
well, when your dad is prime time and Neon Dion, like, what do you think you're going to turn out? So, yes, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. That's for sure.
And that's why I laugh and I don't want Shedeur Sanders.
Mm.
Did you see? I've played the clip before on this show. Did you see the clip that I pulled out from January from my show where I go off on them because they had said, like, we're not playing for the Jets, and they named, I think, the Browns and another team. Where is he now? Ha ha.
Yeah, welcome to Cleveland.
But yeah, no, for anybody new, here it is. It's a quick clip. This is from January of this year. I was live at a couple times a year. I do my show from my mom's like bar in her house, because I'm visiting family in New Jersey, and it's literally like 10 minutes down the road, 10 minute drive from One Jets Drive. And it had come out that day that they didn't want to play for the Jets. And this is what came of it. Here it is.
And the last thing I will say before I bring in my co-host Maddie is it came out that Deion Sanders and his son Shedeur, there's like two teams that we will not play for these teams. We will not play for her. And one of them was the New York Jets. Hey, Deion, asshole, let me get you in on something. They come real close. I want to whisper it to you. We never fucking wanted your son. Do you get that? We never fucking wanted him. Keep that circus away from us. We already have enough of that shit with the Jets. Are you kidding me?
You're an animal.
Well, that's what it is. It's like, I don't know. That's why he dropped so far, because everybody knew the circus and the fucking distractions and all that shit that was potentially going to come with bringing in Shedeur Sanders and what comes around him, which of course is his father. And the last thing a team wants, and I think Maddie has brought this up before, but the last thing a team wants is, Shedeur not getting his spot or Shedeur having a bad game. And then Deion getting on X and tweeting something fucking stupid about, oh, well, it wasn't him, it was this guy ran, this guy did this guy did this coach did. And look, I for the Browns' sake, because look, I feel for Browns fans and Jets fans and Lions fans and Cardinal fans. We all kind of have this unwritten like camaraderie. We all suck. And even when we get good, we never make it past, we never get over that hump, and then we suck again. And I'm afraid that's going to happen to the Lions again. We had it in the 80s. We got to that AFC championship game against the Dolphins, whatever. And then it was just a slow decline back to where we belong. And then 98, 99, 2000, 2001, that era, we got all high again up. We got to the AFC championship game in 98. And then it slowly started deteriorating back down again and whatever. And it's just back where we belong. And that's the Browns, the Jets. So I hope for the Browns' sake that he doesn't bring the circuit. Maybe getting drafted 144th in the 5th round humbled him. Maybe we won't see these crazy tweets anymore. But that's all. It's the same thing as with this. Everyone saw, Aaron Glenn, he's bringing a great culture to the Jets. Thanks, rookie. Thanks, Rook, for putting over your head coach in the first practice. That holds a lot of weight. When we get into the season, even if the Jets lose, if Aaron Glenn is coming to that podium and not giving those goddamn speeches that Saleh gave, and then that Ulbrich, literally, we thought Ulbrich was going to bring some fire, and all he did was hit you. You could take Robert Saleh's press conferences after losses and Jeff Ulbrich's. They were literally written by the same scriptwriter. Like, it was unbelievable. There was no accountability. They always said they were going to have accountability, but there was never, it was always bullshit. So I hope Aaron Glenn, that, when he comes out and he says, we're built for this shit, okay, talk the talk, but now let's walk the walk. And I sure hope Aaron Glenn brings that to this team.
So what do you expect from Aaron Glenn when if the Jets lose? What do you want to hear Aaron Glenn say when they lose?
Truthfully, and he's not going to say this, but truthfully, I want him to come out and be like, yeah, so this guy got way too many penalties. That's going to be worked on, or he's going to be riding the bench. This guy dropped too many balls. And you know what? Well, if we have guys on the practice squad who are hungry, and they will take his spot when they need to, if he can't get his shit together. Like, that's what I want. Now, I don't think he'll go that far.
Right.
But you can find a middle between what what a coach is supposed to say and what Midnight Mike would say.
Yeah,
you can find a happy middle.
There is a happy medium. I expect him to say, we have to do better. I expect him to say that we have issues, and he'll name groups. I don't think he's going to name individual people, but he'll name groups, and he'll be like, listen, wide receivers have to do better. Too many drop passes or whatever. I think he'll, without naming names, I think he'll call groups out. I hope he calls groups out. And, but I hope he doesn't have to do that too often.
No, I also look, look, I get, we're probably going to get 5 to 7 wins this season. Okay. That's
realistically.
We're just being, I can't go through another season with the hopes I had last season and then end up with 5 wins. So let's just assume we're going to get 5 to 7 wins. And then if we outperform that, if we get 7, I'll be thrilled. But the main thing is if we lose games, let's lose games not being penalized 7,000 yards. How about that? Yeah. Like, have a disciplined team. If we just don't have the talent, but we have a disciplined team who doesn't make tons of mistakes, and we can see promise in, like, the offensive line, because this is potentially the best offensive line we've had in over a decade. If we see some good potential, if Brees stops fumbling the ball, there's another one. Come out. Brees. Okay. You know what? Brees Hall fumbled the ball. Next week, Braylon Allen's going to be our number 1 back.
Why not?
Like, that's accountability. Like, that's how you make people realize that they need to get their shit together. Like, look, I don't mind a guy fumbling a ball, but Brees fumbled way too many times. Like,
teams do that? Teams bench players?
They should. Real quick, I'm behind in the comments. Let's get through some of these, and I just want to see what people are writing in here. Guys, please hit the like button. I really appreciate that. Let's see here. Our pessimist, John Ratcliffe, comes in, says the O-line sucked too. I warned everyone about that going into 23 and 24. Well, I hope you're happy with what we have, man, because we've definitely improved. Havmo comes in, says Saleh epitomized the deer in headlights once the game started. Oh, how frustrating was that, Snowball? Like, whenever they're doing okay, or whenever they have a big play, he's like, rah!
Yeah.
But then otherwise, he could have been a fucking marionette puppet on the side of the field. Like, just stone face, no emotion.
The get back guy. Remember the get back guy?
And then Ulbrich just did the same fucking thing.
Yeah, they went stoic.
Miguel, I became a certified Jets fan week 10 of the 94 season. That's a boomer season. Jets beat the Bills, and the play that did it was when Bobby Houston knocked out Don Beebe. Don Beebe was a good receiver. Mid-year, not this season, just take over the rest of the season. Okay, he was talking about the Rex Ryan thing. Mm-hmm. Ulbrich was another deer in headlights. Yes. Where has this show gone? I don't know. Look, actually, we've talked more Jets on this show than we've talked about the Jets on many of the other shows this offseason. Just letting you guys know. And trivia will be back next week. I have the questions ready, so if Snowball wants to come back on.
Oh, me too. I have the questions too, right here.
Thanks
for emailing them. Thanks for emailing them to me.
I did not email him. That is that is fake news.
There is no conspiracy theory here whatsoever. I do not have the questions.
Chris is in here. Let's see here. Because Cam Ward had to work. His was from Incarnate World all the way to Miami. Cam Ward excelled at 3 different universities and 3 different offensive schemes and was a leader through it all. Yeah, and he didn't act like an asshole. That's what I want. I don't mind if people have a little bravado, but you have to earn the bravado. You don't earn the bravado in college. You earn the bravado in the NFL.
Yeah.
So once you once you've had once again, I don't know, like Patrick Mahomes. He's like, look, he seems like on the outside, he seems like just a nice guy. But if he came out and was like, fuck, I'm the man, like, who's going to argue that?
No, I did see a clip from Brown's minicamp, and they made each of the rookies stand up and introduce themselves. And Shedeur Sanders had to stand up and introduce himself. And everyone's kind of like, we all know who you are. Right? Like,
yeah, they're all like, we all know who you are, and we all got drafted before you.
Exactly.
Chris, no, Maddie had an emergency at his job tonight. They called him in, and it is what it is. Luppy's in here. Hey, Mike. Hey, Boom. Hey, Boom. We have a long way to go. We do have a long way to go, but that's okay. Like I said, we in Snowball were talking about it earlier. If we kept Aaron, all that would have done, Aaron and Devontae, all that would have done is pushed off the long way to go. We've now started once again, I don't think this is a full rebuild. As John Radcliffe had said, this is a soft rebuild. So we're not sitting here like the Titans where they have Cam Ward and who else? You know what I'm saying? Like, the Jets have a lot of pieces. We've just got to get shit together and fill up. We have a lot of holes too. Fill up those holes and get the pieces that we have all in sync. You know, it's gonna be May. Miguel says, what's the over under on what week Aaron Glenn will say, got to look at the tape. Oh God.
Hopefully never. I never want to hear that term ever in my entire life again when it comes to the Jets. There's no tape to look at. If you're the head coach and you weren't watching the game, like, you should know as a head coach or any positional coach should be able to watch a game and should be able to tell what went wrong with the team, or else what the hell are you doing on the sidelines of an NFL football team? That's just me, though. That's
the thing. Like I said, even if we go one win. What's up, Nightshade? Good to see you. Even if we go, I'll get back to that. Even if we only have one win, if we lose without tons of penalties, I'm okay with that. Like, please, like, that's the thing over the past couple seasons that has driven me crazy. Mm-hmm. is all the penalties.
Or keep it close. Keep it close.
Yeah.
Like, make the games exciting to watch. You know, have the lead, lose the lead, regain the lead, lose the lead, lose the game. At least it went back and forth. The games that you hate is when you get just destroyed from the time the game starts until the end. You never have a chance. You try to play catch up, you never make it, and the game's over. Like, exchange the lead every once in a while,
which we did, which we usually didn't do.
No,
over the past couple of years. Luppy says, "I love snowballs in May." There you go.
Hi, Luppy.
New York Jets super fan says we ain't winning anytime soon. I mean, we'll get a couple wins. First off, remember this, folks: the New York Jets are undefeated in 2025. Okay, so we are 1-0 in 2025. So let's keep that in mind. Greg says, I never want to hear how good we look on paper, or we got to look at the tape again. Yeah, well, that's what I fell for last season. Well, that's what I fell for last season. Not the look at the tape thing, the how good we looked on paper, because that team on paper should have had way more than 5 wins.
I don't think we look good on paper now.
No, we don't.
Which is right where I want to be. I don't want to look good on paper right now. Yeah. I think looking good on paper is just a curse for bad things to happen during the season. So let's just leave it at that. Coaching, player development, getting creative with play calling. Those are the things that I'm looking forward to this season. I really want to see Engstrand get creative. Who knows what Steve Wilkes is going to do with the defense right now? Who is stopping the run for us
There you go.
at this point?
Yep.
Who's stopping the run? I don't know. Oh,
I
look
don't
at
know
that.
either.
Wow,
Yeah.
look at that. I didn't even look at the screen.
No, that's one of the things that like we haven't honestly when the offseason started, one of the things we were talking about on this show is we need to find guys to stop the run. And here we are through free agency, through the draft, and that answer is still not there. Now maybe Aaron Glenn sees something we don't. Who knows? But
he should.
Yeah,
because he didn't do anything. So if he's just like, oh, damn, I forgot a defensive tackle.
Real quick, Miguel says the schedule drops May 14th. It's been leaked. Broncos, Jets in England. Yeah, I do have a graphic of that right there. This is apparently what we're going to be seeing. 2025 London games. Oh wait, I'm on this side. 2025 London games, week 6, October 12th, Broncos versus Jets. They're gonna kill us. I don't know what you feel, Snowball, but I just don't see us winning that game.
I don't know. You do have the choice. Well, what do you think? Okay, so last season, right? We went to England and we made the in infinite wisdom, we chose not to have the bye week after the trip to London. Do you think Glenn is smart enough to take the bye week after the game in London?
I don't know, because once again, I just don't picture us being. I'm sorry, it said week 6, right?
Yeah, so it'd be week 7.
Dude, by week 6, fuck, we'll be lucky. We'll be lucky to be 2-4.
Okay.
So who cares?
Who cares at that point?
Yeah, who cares if we take the bye or because you can either pick your opponent correct or take the bye.
Mm-hmm. So, are we winning that game? I don't think so. I don't think we're winning against the Broncos in London.
No,
but chalk it up to just a first year with the new head coach.
Real quick. Mets game over. Cubs win 6-5. Oh, they were playing the Mets. Luppy says, how many drops do you predict for Lazard if he's on the team? Luppy, you don't know me well enough. I was a Lazard guy last year, and I was proven right in my prediction of Alan Lazard. Yeah. So, look. Do
you have a Lazard jersey?
No, me and Maddie, I told Maddie that I'd buy us each a Lazard jersey if he went over 600 yards and over 7 touchdowns. And then he went down for a bunch of weeks. So in 12 games, I've showed it to before. I still have it.
Show that board.
530 yards in 12 games. I predicted at the beginning of the season he'd have over 500 yards and over 5 or 6 touchdowns, and he did both. And I said he was going to be a legitimate wide receiver 3. And hey, look, I'm happy with that. Now, once again, right now we're sitting there with him being potentially our wide receiver 2.
Well,
I don't know.
Talk about experience, time on the team, and familiarity with the other players. Yeah, he is your wide receiver 2.
But to be fair, this is going to be his now 3rd quarterback, because he played with Wilson the first season, then Rodgers, now Fields. So it's not like that's the main person he needs, whatever. But yeah, no, check this out. As a matter of fact, this is a clip from Jets Worldwide. And this is when I was on with you and Johnny Boy, and a bunch, and you guys were doing the match game, and you came in and you said,
it was something about the Drop King.
Well, correct. You said, what would if somebody had a nickname, and you said, Malachi Corley was known as the Yak King.
Right.
What would Alan Lazard's nickname be? And every single person said Drop King. And here's my response. This is from Jets Worldwide. This is before last season of football.
Oh, and your answer?
Oh.
Drop King.
Okay.
All right. Good. So another match. Moving on, we're going to look at the answer from Jeremy.
Well, I mean, this one was fairly obvious that he is the drop king.
The drop king. All right. So another point from Jeremy to Ryan. He now has taken a commanding lead. We're going to ask Midnight Mike his response.
Shame on all of you. I have been saying since the end of last season, with a healthy Aaron Rodgers, Alan Lazard is going to be a very good wide receiver 3 for us this year. 500 plus yards. He's catching a touchdown tomorrow night. Shout out to Corey Feldman because Alan Lazard is the comeback king.
The comeback king. Wow. And he got a Corey Feldman plug in there. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
All right. Well.
And I want to point out that I said wide receiver 3, and I said 500 yards, and I said he's going to catch a touchdown tomorrow night. That was the San Francisco game. He caught a touchdown.
Clairvoyant.
Yeah. Well, no, but that's the only reason I play that is because that's like one of the only predictions that I was so sure of that I actually got right. Like that close. So I'm going to hold on to that forever. Like
he can block, and Aaron Glenn likes blocking wide receivers, so good for him. We'll see what happens.
Is what it is. And people, I know people hate Alan Lazard, but look, he'll have drops. If he's on the team, he's going to have some drops. But I still think if he plays, and once again, he hit my thing in 12 games. He didn't play all 18 games. So let's say we have a healthy Alan Lazard next year. I say again, he has over 500 yards and let's say 5 touchdowns.
But wasn't he a healthy scratch? Like
yeah, he had some sort of chest injury.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, there was some sort of chest injury.
I think there was a soccer ball lodged in his chest.
Something. If
he can get rid of the soccer ball, then I might like him.
New York Jets superfan says we won't score a point versus Denver. Their D is nasty good this year. Agreed. I agree. Miguel, Lazard led the NFL with 18% drop pass rate. Yeah. I mean, look, to be fair, I was right, but everybody else who picked Drop King was also right. So I guess we were all right. But yeah, no, Mike bought a Lazard jersey, but he dropped it. Stonehand. See, this is what happens. Anytime Lazard gets brought up and I talk about that, this is what comes in. Look, Lazard will not be as good without AR, so I'm not expecting a lot. Oh, here we go. Havmo says Lazard will surprise and redeem himself big time. I like that.
I hope he's right.
You don't have to tag me, Mets. Like, why are you tagging me in my own show? I don't even write in the comments. Link, or do you want a flag? I will get a link in here momentarily. Oh, we just coasted right past the top 5. Do you have more time, Snowball? I don't want to hold you if you have to go.
I got about 10 minutes.
All right. Then we won't do a top 5 tonight because we can't get that done in 10 minutes.
Okay.
But we'll keep going because this is actually great because we're actually talking about the Jets on my show in the off season. That's rare.
This right.
Lazard will be better. He's had enough of Aaron Rodgers. We'll see. We'll see if he just doesn't end up in Pittsburgh.
You think he's going? You think he's going to Pittsburgh? Do you think Rodgers is going to Pittsburgh? See, this is what Rodgers does. Rodgers makes you guess. Rodgers takes his time. Rodgers makes everyone crazy. What do you think?
To be fair, I don't know. Because once again, because he does this all the time, because Aaron Rodgers always holds Green Bay up and probably would have done the same thing to us and all this. And that's why I'm kind of glad that Aaron Glenn was just like, nah, get out. We're done. Okay. Because I said this before, like, I think that when the reason this wasn't done over the phone and the reason that they let Aaron Rodgers come to meet up with Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn is because I think they had a conversation prior to Aaron Rodgers coming in the room. And they said, when we are going to ask him straight up, almost immediately, do you want to play football?
Mm-hmm.
And the only acceptable answer is an emphatic yes. I want to play football for the New York Jets. If he go and Aaron said something like he said, I'd like to play or something where it wasn't like,
yeah, I'm interested.
Exactly. To me, the second he said that, Aaron Glenn was like, done. Like that was it right there. Like it had to be an over the top. Yes, I want to play. I want to be a New York Jet.
But Mike Tomlin has Mason Rudolph. He has
It's a starting quarterback right now.
He has Skylar Thompson, and he has Will Howard. Those are his 3 quarterbacks. So, you think he wants Aaron Rodgers?
I don't. What do you think of this Derek Carr retirement? Do you really think his shoulder is that hurt? Could he be retiring to like find a way
to retire?
And unretire and end up on the Steelers?
It doesn't sound like a feasible story, really, if you ask me.
Well, because I feel like there'd be a lot of logistics in that, like legalities. Like you can't just retire and then go to a different, and then unretire and go to a different team the next season.
I think he's just done. I think he's finished.
John Radcliffe says, "Hey Mike, tell this dude about all my predictions from last season and how you could run, be more spot on if you try. How you
couldn't be more spot on if you tried?
Oh, maybe." And they still managed to win less games than predicted. No, correct. But John, the problem is that you are a Jets pessimist, and it's so easy to predict the bad from the Jets. Like, I've been a fan for, like I said, 40 plus years. If I would have predicted the Jets would suck every one of those seasons of 40, let's make it even 40 years, 35 of them I would have predicted right. So when you look, he did make a lot of great predictions, Snowball. I'm not going to deny that. But when you predict bad shit about the Jets, it's par for the course. Like it's not as
hitting the broadside of a barn.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I like Iowa, so I actually like Lazard, but he definitely needs to play better this year. Agreed.
Everybody needs to play better this year.
All right, let me pop this invite in here. Because we are at the hour and a half mark. A very different show tonight, and I'm very much enjoying it, Snowball.
Oh, you're very welcome. I am having a lot of fun, and I'm sorry that Maddie was scared to play trivia against me, and he's hiding, but that's okay.
Well, you like I said, you're welcome on next week. If you can't make it next week, you just tell me what Saturday trivia you can come on.
All right.
And we will make sure that Maddie has to go face to face deal with Snowball.
I am completely joking. I suck at trivia, but I'm just using that as fodder for something to say against Maddie. I love Maddie, and he's a genius. And,
come on, let's not go that far.
All right, he's pretty smart, and he's well read. So there's something to be said about reading books.
Miguel says Rodgers is going to the Saints now that Derek Carr retired. Perfect fit for Rodgers. At least 8 games in a dome down south where the winter isn't as cold. Now that for Aaron, that seems like a better choice for an older guy. But once again, the Saints aren't ready to win like the Steelers are.
No.
So,
well, listen. Tomlinson has to keep his winning record. So he'll go there.
Pittsburgh
eventually.
Pittsburgh fans have turned on Tomlin.
Yeah.
And I don't get it.
They're tired of being mid.
But they're not mid. When you're a playoff team, you're not mid. So
in their eyes, they are. In their eyes,
because they're fucking spoiled.
Yeah, it's true.
I'd kill to be that mid.
They don't know. They don't know yet. They're not starving. They're starting to starve.
Lubby says, Mike, truth be told, I believe if Alan Lazard is on the team, he'll be having something to prove and have a good season. Big fellow, what's up, man? How you doing? Rodgers could go now to New Orleans. Who the hell knows or cares anymore what he does? Truth. At this point, it doesn't matter.
I care what he does. Not because I'm just interested because he's Aaron Rodgers. That's all.
Real quick, I said last week we got the 7 Midnight Mike Show channel memberships. Here's the Jets chant because Luppy just gave us the 8th. We need 2 more, folks, and I give 10. Jets. Thank you, Luppy. I appreciate that, man. That is awesome. 2 more, folks. 2 more gifted channel memberships. We get them in here, and I give 10.
Who will it be? Who will the next 2 be from?
I don't know if we're going to get them tonight now that we're this late in the show. And I completely forgot to, I think I've only given the thumbs up thing once or twice. Guys, hit the thumbs up.
I have 2 minutes left, and we'll get 2 more in the next 2 minutes. Before I leave, let's get those 2.
I don't know if that'll work. Matthew, I know it works. By the way, the Discord link is down in the comments of this video. Please join the Discord. Once again, I wait till the end of the show and completely forget about it. I'm off tonight. I've been off for a while with promoting the things I'm supposed to promote on the show. Yeah. Oh, shit. Hold on.
Baby. Yeah, baby. It's happening.
Mike nailed it about the Steelers being spoiled. Who got the membership? Was it you, Matthew? Because I see the little thing next to your name. I don't have YouTube pulled up. I'm just running off of StreamYard. So that's what it is. But yes, here's another Jets chant from for Luppy. Jets, Jets, Jets. One more gifted channel membership, and I gift 10. So you know what? We've gotten to one more. So I am going to actually open up YouTube on a separate stream because that's the only way that I can.
It went to ISU.
What do you mean? What to ISU? I don't even know what ISU is.
The screen name is ISU.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll tell you this. I don't know what happens when other people, give channel memberships. Sometimes random people will get it who have signed up to get, because you have to go into the comments, hit the $sign and click on accept gifted channel memberships. Mm-hmm. But when I do it, it usually goes to people like every time I gift like 5 or 10 channel memberships, it usually always goes to the people who have been waiting for them. Like Maddie doesn't have a channel membership. Scott Foster doesn't have a channel membership. I'd love to get those people, channel memberships and things like that. But let me go back. Okay, here I am in the comments. Yes, ISURB4L got one. And then before that, Tickle My Prostate received a gifted channel membership. So I am glad to have that. I'll tell you that.
Well, listen, I got to go. It's 10:30 p.m. Do you know where your children are? That's dating us, right?
Yeah, I remember that. Well, the funny thing is that I saw before you go, I saw a comedian or someone who mentioned that, how it used to come on. Hey, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are? And she was talking about how tougher we were as kids when we were kids, because we were so tough that our parents had to actually be reminded that they had children at 10 o'clock p.m. and figure out where they were, because parents just let kids run wild back in our day.
Yeah, it's true.
So, but Snowball, thank you so much. Jets Worldwide every Friday. What is it? 7:30?
7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Me, Johnny Boy, and whoever else we have on. Boy, did I make a phone call today, Mike. If I get the guest that I think we might get, watch out. Watch out.
I'm excited. That's
Watch
a nice
out.
cliffhanger.
Yes.
Awesome. And keep in touch about that trivia. We are going to get you on with Maddie one of these Saturdays.
Definitely.
But thank you very
so
much.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks for having me on. Chat. Last chance. Get that membership in, because I want to see this guy cough up 10 memberships. All right. Have a good night. See ya. Take care.
Have a good one, Snowball. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Look, it wouldn't be a Midnight Mike show. Look, we could be without Maddie, and Tommy cannot show up, and Abe cannot show up. But there is someone that you just can't do a Midnight Mike show without. And ladies and gentlemen, that's Mets 2128.
Meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really...
Hey, Mike.
What's up? How you doing, Mets?
Well, bad day for New York sports teams across the board. Knicks get crushed, Yankees lose to the A's, and Mets just lost to the Cubs.
Yeah, I saw. Well, the Cubs are a good team. Okay. The Yankees losing to the Athletics, that's a problem. The Knicks losing to the Celtics, it's kind of like, the way I look at it is, that's kind of what should have happened in game 1 and game 2, but somehow the Knicks found a way to come back from 20 points and get it. You knew eventually the hammer was going to drop, right, Mets?
Yeah. And then, of course, the big dumb way Cena retained the title. You know who got involved this time?
First off, I don't even know who he fought. So who was his opponent?
Orton.
Who?
Randy Orton.
Okay, Randy Orton. What happened?
Randy was going to punt him, and R-Truth comes out to try to stop him.
R-Truth?
Because you know this stupid little angle they have with him calling Cena his childhood hero, despite the fact it's a 5-year age gap the other way.
Well, look, wrestling's wrestling. I haven't watched in many years.
Say this. I mean, as much as some fans are sick of it, as some of the boys in the back are sick of it, as much as I'm sick of it, I'm pretty sure even John is getting sick of it. Is he gonna give Truth his roses in gratitude for helping him retain the title tonight at Backlash, or whether it happens on Raw or SmackDown this coming week? No. Is he gonna call Truth out to the ring, chew him up, spit him out, and then beat the living shit out of him to drill into the Truth's head that John Cena's not the man he once considered a friend? Yes.
Mets, hold on. Stop getting so riled up. You realize wrestling is scripted, correct?
Yes, but I'm just saying that the joke is wearing
It doesn't seem like you do. It seems like you're pissed.
Look, I like Ron Killings, the wrestler, but the character has gotten unbearably dull at this point.
Well, Andy's 60.
53, actually.
No, I know, but he's an older man. I mean, he looks great, but it is what it is. Real quick, Mets, we have a gifted channel membership. Snowball, Jets Worldwide, makes it 10. He gets the Jets chant. Jets, Jets, Jets. And that means that I go into YouTube and I gift 10 channel memberships of my own. CMD received the gifted channel membership from Jets Worldwide. And now let's hopefully get one for Scott. Let's hopefully get one for Maddie. Here we go. Here we go. Here come 5. Let's see who gets them. Boom. Midnight Mike Show gives 5 channel memberships. Rick Christian, New York Jets superfan, Scott Foster, Nate, and Havmo. Oh, no, Havmo says wide. Michael Narrow gets one. Hell yeah. Almost all those people. Now, Rick Christian, I don't know, but I will tell you right now that 4 of those people, all well-deserving of gifted channel memberships. And I'm going to do one more. Here we go, Mets. Or one more set of 5, not one more. One more set of 5. Here we go. Here we go. Let's see. Can we get Maddie one? Huge Johnson, Infrared, Alex, the Average, Party with Peg and Artie, and Charles Nicholas, Ranger Fan 11. All those people are in my chat very often. That is awesome. As a matter of fact, Alex was one of the ones who suggested we do a halfway to Halloween show, which was awesome. Infrared, Huge Johnson, Party with Peg and Artie. Guys, that is awesome. Like I said, we couldn't get one for Maddie, but hell yeah, did we get some people gifted channel memberships. You can't get gifted one, Matthew, because you're already a channel member. Hell yeah, look at this, Murdog. Hey guys, popping in because I got messages on where I've been last 3 weeks, and they said I ghosted the show. Truth is, I got kicked off the show 3 weeks ago because my Yankee streams running into here was disrespectful. Murdog, you can call in because that's not what I said. I told you were welcome on this show anytime you wanted. I told you that you could call in. I even asked you in my last text to you if me and Maddie could still pop on your stream. But you were doing so much with your stream. All I said is that you're running into our stream and me and Maddie were waiting on you, and if we're going to bring in a third host, that we need someone that it will be there when the show starts. I have the text. Don't make me bring it out, but you're more than welcome to call in if you want, but you're welcome on the show anytime. I told you that. Bro.
I bet he was also watching Backlash and realized how stupid it ended tonight. I
Possibly. Wasn't the Yankee game on? If the Yankee game was on,
over
he was.
before Backlash got started.
Oh, okay. But yeah, Murdog, there was somebody mentioned it tonight. There was a person, and you're more than welcome, man. Anytime you want, give us a call. You know, whatever. If you want to have it out, I'll have it out. But I don't want to do that. I've told anyone who. I mean, like I said, it's not like I've been bombarded. But anyone who has called in or anyone who has DM'd me, like, you know, and usually it's like Tommy Jets, you know, people close to the show, people in the family. And I've told them straight up, like, I love Murdog. I want to be friends with Murdog. I have no problem with that. It's just that we couldn't do the hosting thing. And, you know, there were other elements to it also over the months, but it's just, you know, it is what it was. And you're focusing on your show. So, like, dude, like, I hope it's working out for you. Like, I hope it's working out for you. That's all I can say. Like, if you want to be bitter about it, that's fine. But like I said, I can show you anyone, like Tommy asked me or whatever. I can show you screenshots that I said, look, I don't know. Murdog, you know, hasn't gotten back in touch with me. I told him I wanted him to still call in whenever he felt the need. You know, I told DB the same thing. I told, you know, me and Maddie talked about it. Maddie, and when we talked, Maddie said, make sure he knows that it's not a blackball thing. We're not blacklisting him. Like, you know, you're the one who turned it into this, Murdog, not me. You know, and I literally have all the texts and everything to prove it. I'm not going to do that because I told you, like, I'm not going to say anything unless you say something. You said something, I'm responding to it, and we can drop it here if you want. I have no problem with that. But you're welcome to call in, even if you want to drop it and call in friendly. You're welcome. You're welcome to. Mets, you want to see something funny?
What?
Okay, so I was watching like the I don't know if you saw any of the pre-show to the Knicks game with Stephen A. Smith and whatnot on ABC.
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay, hold on. I have a graphic here.
Is it what he showed that he didn't want to see another villain on the list?
No. I saw the villain list. I saw that villain list, which I thought was pretty good. But it's funny because he said something and then they put it on the bottom of the screen, but it's the most obvious thing you'll ever see ever. Here it is. Look on the bottom of the screen. Look at his quote under game 3. It says,
it's a different story if they make them.
Yeah,
well, they made them, you son of a bitch.
But Betts, his hot take was Boston is missing open shots. It's a different story if they make them. Yeah. It's a different story if any team makes all their shots. Like, that is the weirdest quote that I've ever heard. Like, yes, if a team misses shots, they're not going to do well. If a team makes shots, they're going to do well. Thanks, Stephen A., for that glimpse into basketball and sports in general. We appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, Stephen A., for jinxing the Knicks, you bandwagon bastard.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Okay, so that now they're playing a game here.
Minnesota against Golden State, right?
No. DB, who I thought I've had no problem with him whatsoever. But hold on. Matthew, stop being mean to people. Yeah, Bomber, it's true. Yeah. I'm getting all of his little buddies here. Oh, here you go. Mets. Are you still offended by titties tonight? I've heard about that appearance on Jake Asman. Scott Foster let me know that you were on Jake Asman and that you were getting sick by looking at breasts. Is there any truth to that?
Big, saggy, old man breasts. I mean, pecs that sag me from tubs of lard.
Why don't you split your super chats with the co-host, Mike? I did. Maddie got paid, actually. Me and Maddie have had a deal since the very beginning. You're more than welcome to message him. You are more than welcome to talk to him. And we had a deal from the time we met. And hold on, I have a great picture. This was when me and Maddie met about a year ago. And there it is. And I said to him because this was right around when he started the show, and I said to him, look, like I'm doing this as a second job, like this, I'm doing this, it is what it is, but when I make a certain amount, I'm going to start giving you a percentage of that amount. And we hit that amount. We hit that amount last month, and Maddie got paid. So there it is. Let's see what else these jabronis are writing. Grown men fishing for drama. Yes. No. Well, Matthew, what they're doing right now is they're trying to get people who watch my show over to his show. And that's fine. Go watch Murdog's show. He does all the Yankee games during the Jets season. He does all the Jets games and all of that. Like I said, look, guys, you can come in all you want, but I do have all the texts and everything that I sent to you guys that where I said, like, I still want to be cool. Like, I have no problem. Murdog was there for you when no one else was, and you just throw him away as soon as you think it benefits you. Why do I think it benefits me? How does it benefit me? Mets, do you really want to be? Look, I have no problem if you stay, but do you really want to be in on this? Like middle school girl stuff that they're pulling here?
I got my wish. I got my wish when it comes to truth.
Was that just a wrestling thing again?
Yeah. Truth came in on Cena's press conference. Cena threatened him. You say one more thing, there'll be repercussions. Truth said one more thing. Got an attitude adjustment to the press table.
All right.
I mean, at least I got my wish.
That's true. That's true. Luppy comes in, says, Mike, love the Corbett jersey. The Jets need to retire number 80. We were talking about that earlier in the show, Luppy. We were talking about that. Like, they don't allow players to take number 80. So why not just retire it? Like, no Jets fan on earth would be upset by or would fight with the Jets for retiring number 80. Like, it wouldn't happen. He's beloved. There you go. This show sucks without Murdog on it, and that is on you, Mike. Yeah, man. I agree with you. I agree with you, DB. And by the way, DB, I have the text and everything with you too. And apparently Maddie also messaged you. And so who's the real who honestly, let's talk about this. Who's really, I was honest. Okay. I was up front. Okay. And I didn't bullshit anybody. I told everybody what was going on, why it was happening. And I said, I still want to be cool and all that stuff. You, on the other hand, told both me and Maddie that, hey man, we're cool. Like I'm not taking sides. Like I watched both your shows and I said, that's awesome. And I have no problem with that. And I complimented you on how much you helped out Murdog's show with graphics and things like that. I have the texts. Like if I have to start pulling all this stuff, if you guys want, I can do it. But once again, like this is middle school girl shit. Like you guys are literally acting like fucking PMS. Are you guys on your period? Is that what's going on right now? Because like, seriously, like I thought we were cool, DB. I texted you a couple days ago. I didn't know there was a problem. Like, so once again, who, like, that's kind of.
So, Mike, you want to join Murdog and I on Friday for the Yankee Met game?
I don't think Murdog agreed to that.
Well, you were the one who said you wanted to hop in on any of my streams any given time.
Oh, no, absolutely. Well, I said to you, are you doing any Rockies game or Yankees games?
Well, not yet. I mean,
well, no. Well, and you're doing a Yankees Mets game. But the thing is that if Murdog's on it and him and DB came in here to start like this shit, I don't know if Murdog would want me on. I don't even know. Look, I don't even know. I have to look at the time. I may be working. I don't even know if I can do it.
Right. My point is 7 o'clock. Saturday would be like a 1 o'clocker.
Well, my whole point is that I think you and Murdog should do it, and then I should come on a different show because right. I didn't know that this was going to come down tonight. I didn't know that they were, especially with DB, because DB fronted to me and Maddie like he was cool, like, hey man, no problem, whatever. And this went on for like 2 weeks or more. I don't even know. I could look where like we would text back and forth and whatever, and it just everything seemed fine. And I had no problem with Murdog. I texted him. He never responded to me. So it is what it is. Like I was up front. There you go. There you go.
Do you at least want to hop in on playback on Monday night for the Knicks
What-
Celtics game 4?
On what night?
Monday night,
What time is the game?
probably 7:30.
I might be able to pop in around 8:30, 9 o'clock. Because my problem, Mets, is that I work till 7, and then I come home and I have from 7 till around 8:30 with my girls, and that's the only time I see them during the week.
Oh.
So that's why it's that time from 7 to 8:30. That's time for me and the family. So I have a hard time when anything comes.
I think I have another game between the Mets and Cubs to call tomorrow afternoon. I'm not going to my sister's house until around 5 on Mother's Day.
You're not going to your mom's house? What? Wait, say that again.
Mother's Day, the Mets and Cubs are playing their rubber game on Roku, and I decided to call it. Thankfully, my mom and I are not going to my half-sister's house for dinner until 5.
I'm going to Long Island tomorrow.
Oh.
Yeah, for Mother's Day. My wife's grandmother lives on Long Island, so we're gonna go see that, and some of her uncles. Bomber, yeah, dude. Look, dude, if you want to believe, look, there's two sides to every story, and then there's the truth. If you want to just stick to one side, what I would do if I were an impartial person is I'd hear what Murdoch and DB are saying, then I'd hear what me and Maddie say, and then you'd figure out that the truth lies somewhere in between. Although I actually have the actual proof, but I'm not going to waste my show with this. Maybe I'll do like a separate show. Like the only reason I'm entertaining this now is because, well, I once again, I thought it was funny. And it is. It's funny that you guys came in like this because it's like, you know, you could have a life instead of coming on this show and being kind of, you got sand in your vagina and you're upset, and that's fine. Murdoch, not DB. I don't know what the fuck your problem is. Like,
Stop giving me a vagina!
And Bomber, I know you're a Murdoch guy, so like, dude, just enjoy Murdoch's show. That's fine, but I don't need to keep going with this. Don't use my Yankee games as a scapegoat, dude. That was one of the main problems. But I'm not. Once again, I'm not going to sit here and if you want me to tell everybody all, like, I don't want to waste. Look, this is the end of the show. It's fine. If you want to come on at the end, I'm going to wrap up. But if you want to come on another show and hash this out, and I'll tell everybody exactly all the other reasons. The reason I didn't bring all those up is because I don't want to shit talk somebody. You know, even though you guys are on here shit talking me, I have no problem bringing up all your nonsense. Like, that's fine. Enjoy, have a good time. But I'm not that kind of person. Like, I'm not a petty person. I don't hold grudges. I don't sit there and cry on PMS all the time. And that's what you guys are doing right now. It's not a good look. You know, it's not a good look. You know, you probably should have just earlier messaged me and said, actually, you know what would have been better? What would have been better is you messaged me earlier pretending to be friendly and then and say, hey, man, I'm going to pop on. And I would have been like, hell fucking yeah. And then come on and then go in on me. You know, that would have been at least, yes, it would have still been middle school girl shit, but at least it would have been like good, you know, drama and bullshit, you know, like that would have been like wrestling, right, Mets? That would have been a wrestling style thing.
Yep.
There you go.
Flag? When I say link or flag, I meant this flag, not tagging it. See, Mike?
Oh, infrared. That's fucked, man.
I meant this kind of flag.
Yeah, throw a flag, Mets.
Flag!
Ooh, a Midnite Dyke now. I like that.
Flag?
First and foremost, there was never an agreement. I don't know where you fucking heard that there was an agreement where DB was like, hey man, I'll help get you a new computer, but you have to help Murdoch and suck on Murdoch's dick. All it was like, hey, if I get a new laptop, I can appear more on more things. I can do more of my shows. And I did. I went on Murdoch's show a bunch of times. So I don't know where you heard all that. But infrared, you can go fuck yourself. DB, I guess you can go fuck yourself. You wanted more viewers, so you kicked Murdoch to the curb. No, I haven't gotten more viewers. I'm in the off season. My views suck. I'm getting like 200-300 views. This show probably won't get close to that because of the Mother's Day thing. Although usually like over the next couple days, it might get, up higher, but what are you talking about? My views, I've said it when you guys were on the show, my views don't go up until the season starts. What the fuck are you even talking about? Jesus Christ. Oh, there you go. And he gets the Jets chant. E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets. Long live the dog. Murdoch, 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 Murdoch. I'm not going to read them all, but you get the point. Thank you, DB. Member for 6 months. I appreciate it, buddy. Let's see here. Sean, this Siwa was the three of you. This show was the three of you. Without all three of you, it's not the same. I hope you didn't stop Murdoch because it couldn't be here on time. You have to rush. I don't know what don't you have to rush means, but no, there was many things that went into Murdoch just not being the official third host. And me and Maddie did it for like a year prior to Murdoch. So it's not like it is what it is, but no, there's a lot of things that went into it. And if he wants to let everybody know what those things were, that's fine. As long as he's truthful about it and says, what those things are. But the reason I said, the third host thing isn't working out is because we would say we were doing the drafts and we had to draft for him because he was late. Like we waited. We were like, all right, we're waiting on Murdoch. And that was happening too often on Tuesday nights. So it's just like, well, why don't you just work on your channel? Then we don't have to wait for you. We can plan segments. And then whenever you're ready, call in and, you could be on the show. That's what it was. That's all it was.
Close game out in San Francisco.
God kicks me. Guys, it's old. It's old. No, I'm not going to split chats with Murdoch. This is my show. If you don't want to do it, you don't do it. Like, why would I split chats with Murdoch? Murdoch, if he wants super chats, you guys can do it all on his show. I have no problem with that. I wish him luck. He needs
watch hours for me to get enough for super chats.
Yeah, go to Mets too. Mets 2128. I didn't message people trash talking him. Go back and look. I said over and over again that I still want to be friends. Guys, look, the middle school shit is over. I'm done with that. We're at the 2-hour mark. It is what it is.
I'll see you, Mike.
Thank you, Mets. And thank you for being here. And I hope the Mets continue to do well this season, even though I hate them.
Same with the Yankees, even though I don't like them as much.
Well, it's good for baseball when New York is good at baseball, right?
Yeah.
Real quick, do you think the Knicks win this series?
Fingers are crossed, but the tide may have just turned after today.
That's what I was thinking. Because once again, the first two games, this is what it should have been. And now here we are. So we'll see. Let's hope. Mets. Thank you for being on. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, folks. Once again, awesome show. Thank you, Snowball, for coming on the show. I definitely appreciate that. And hey, Maddie, if you watch this back, you're not getting away from Snowball. You're not getting away from Snowball. Eventually, you will have to face him in some trivia. Even if the job pulls you in and makes you, whatever. But once again, it was good to talk a bunch of Jets. It was good to do that tonight because it's the off season and we went through a lot of different topics. We ended up talking about Gastineau again, and we ended up talking about Rex Ryan's and all this other stuff. So I definitely love the fact that I got to talk a bunch of Jets stuff because it was someone new to talk about the Jets with. Me and Maddie have rehashed all this stuff before. So for me and Maddie to sit there and do it again, it would have just once again been rehashing, which is why I, like to do the trivia and the top fives and all the other things. So once again, I appreciate everybody being here. I appreciate all of you guys coming in and shit talking me, especially since you're so ill informed. But it's still, look, it helped me have more views. So I appreciate that. That's never a bad thing. And then once this gets out, I'm sure over the next 3 days, I'll get even more views. So that's awesome. The only problem is that you didn't have the fucking nuts to come to us in private and talk about this. And you also didn't have the fucking nuts to call in when Maddie was here, and me and Maddie would have had no problem talking to Murdoch or DB or anybody, because we know not only are we telling the truth in everything we said, but it was the right thing to do. It was the right thing to do after a bunch of mistakes and then having to sit around and wait, We wanted to be nice. We tried to take the high ground. You guys came in here with sand in your vaginas, acting like a bunch of pussies, and it is what it is. And actually, to be honest, I could care less. I figured Murdoch would be like this because he does this with, apparently he does this with like a bunch of people, because when we talked, he was always mad at people, thinking people hated him, all this, all paranoid and shit. I kind of expected this, but I did think Murdoch would come around because, like I said, everything I had messaged to him, everything I messaged to anybody else was saying, like, look, there was a disagreement. He was, whatever. He wasn't getting here on time. Concentrate on the jet stream. I still hope people go to the jet stream, Murdoch, because you've told me how much you spent on StreamYard and all that stuff, and you're trying to recoup that money. And with these guys, I'm hoping you'll be able to do that. Bomber can help you out. DB will help you out. DJ hopefully will help you out. It is what it is. So I definitely hope that works out for you. Like if you could be as pissed off as you want, Bomber, I only met him a couple times. I know he's Team Murdoch. That's fine. I expect him to come in and believe what you said. No problem there. DJ, Bills fan, you're more than welcome to be here. Take it or leave it. Is what it is. The only person I'm upset with is DB, because he came in and was a complete fake. Told me several times he wasn't going to take sides. He's cool. He's going to support Murdoch. He's going to support us, and that's fine. And apparently he told Maddie the same thing, because Maddie told me, I messaged DB. He's cool. Like, whatever. Being two-faced, that's kind of fucked. Because I'll always tell everybody straight to the face, like I told you, DB, like I told you, Murdoch. It is what it is. But anyway, this is the Midnight Mike Show. And you know what? At least it was entertaining in the end, right? At least I'm sorry Metz had to be in here for that, because Metz, once again, he is someone who didn't take sides. He likes my show. He likes Murdoch's show. He likes Jake's show. He likes everybody's show. And that's cool. But, DB, that's pretty fucked. Like that's fucked. I expect it from other people. I didn't expect it from you. I didn't expect a two-faced kind of thing there. Like, you can usually read people, and I always thought that like you were pretty cool. Guess I was wrong. Anyway, this was the Midnight Mike Show. We will be back Tuesday night, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. I welcome everybody in here, including all my haters. Hey, look, we've always been one of the most hated New York Jets shows, content creators on the internet, because we just have no filter, And why did I have a filter? Because I was trying not to be an asshole to people that I thought were friends. And I still won't. Because I'm not like that. But I invite you guys to come back and talk all that shit when me and Maddie are here. Let Maddie know. Let me know. And then let Maddie go off. It'll be fun. Tuesday night, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Also next Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Memorial Day weekend, I will be coming to you from my mom's house in New Jersey. I showed the clip earlier from the bar when I was pissed off about Shedeur Sanders. That's where I'll be coming from, the Saturday of Memorial Day weekend. And I don't know if the time, usually if I have a time change or anything like that, that'll be on Memorial Day weekend or a Christmas weekend when I go and visit New Jersey. So I'll keep everybody informed. I am Midnight Mike, your late night New York Jets host, and I can't wait to see you next time.
First SportsCenter breaking news.
The New York Jets are hiring their former player, Aaron Glenn, as their next head coach.
Turn the music on! Aaron Glenn.
12th pick in this first round select Aaron Glenn, defensive back, Texas A&M.
Every time you put your feet on the ground that morning, you felt like you was winning that game. At some point, man, we got to draw a line in the sand and say enough is enough. Compete, man, compete! Compete!
And Aaron Glenn has a little attitude about him that I think is made for being in New York. He has an attitude that I think he's going to be honest with you. He's going to hold you accountable every single second.
Winning. Time to get that feeling back. Y'all dig what I'm saying?